Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. Yak Gadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to yakgadget.com. Eastport Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake. For all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs, go to eastport.info. Now let's get this show started. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another wonderful show. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Brian.
I am currently sharing this up on the old Facebook. If y'all are in here, please do the same. Let's get some folks in here and have a pretty epic conversation. I heard something about gators in the swamp with a stand-up paddleboard before we started. So, yeah, that ain't my cup of tea, but we're going to hear about it. We're going to hear about it along with a couple of other great things. Couple quick announcements. The Kayak Fantasy Fishing League. Susie just messaged me. The rosters are up to date. You guys can set all your rosters for the upcoming event. Currently taking place on Toledo Bend this weekend, the first Hobie event of the year. Sold out, 200 anglers. Let's go. I've already seen a bunch of big fish pictures coming in on the old social medias. So that's always nice. And then just a friendly reminder, Dale Hollow events coming up end of March, beginning of April. It's actually the weekend of April 2nd and 3rd down at the beautiful Eastport Marina. The link to Tourney X is down in the description. If you guys are listening on the podcast, in the car, in the garage, on your way to Toledo Bend, you can get signed up for that down in the show chat. All that stuff is there. Jay is posting these links in the wrong chat.
I don't have access to the regular comment one, man. Like I'm a visitor on this podcast through this link.
Last week you just did so well, and this week
it's because I was handing them to you. Like I am now.
This week, Jay's slacking. Might have to deduct some money out of his paycheck this week.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, okay. I'm definitely gonna be negative then because it was negative before.
So you guys can get signed up for that stuff. Like I said, all the stuff's in the show notes. All the info's on Tourney X. We got two local kayak trails joining us from Tennessee, Central Tennessee kayak anglers, and the Cumberland Kayak Trail as well. So if you guys fish those two clubs, you guys can get points towards your clubs and all that good stuff. I know that's getting announced later this week. I'm probably spilling some beans. I probably shouldn't, but that's what I do. So you're welcome.
I spill beans.
We got anything else? Anything else? Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think we're okay for right now.
We got John Big Daddy Rap in the house. He says he's looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing you, brother. It's been too long. I think the last time I saw Rap was down at ICAST. That was back in July.
That's shorter than me. I haven't seen Big Daddy Rap in a long time.
I might shed a tear right now. We got Frank Profilone in the house. What's up, Slayers? I know there's going to be a slew of the Paddle and Fin hosts joining Mr. Frank on his podcast coming up on a very soon Saturday. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the date. I don't want to spill too much for Frank, but yeah, we're going to do a podcast with him, man. I'm looking forward to that. Frank's a super energetic dude, and he's doing great things with the Slay Nation tournament. So what's up, Frank? Thanks for being here, brother. Always appreciate you. You got anything else, Jay?
No, sir. Let's get this show on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeff Jones.
What's up, guys?
What up, Jeff?
Thanks, man.
What's happening, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Crazy enough, I'm a soccer coach now. Like I don't know nothing about soccer.
You driving a
went
mini? You driving a
full dad
minivan
mode.
too, bro? Or what?
I don't drive a minivan.
He's like, I got a Prius, silly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I just got done doing. So.
Oh, right on, man. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, at least you're down in the South, and I mean, I'd deal with being a soccer coach right now instead of having 20-degree temps up here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in the 40s right now, so
Well,
it's still pretty chilly for here.
Just think about that
Yeah.
too. He's like down there by the Gulf.
Yeah.
I was like, and we're not.
Yeah,
we're not. It's like we're like, it like our grass is white right now.
Yeah. Mine's brown.
Yeah. See, it's like, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like up here, bro. It's hard.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't want to either. I'll stick with the South.
We got Mr. Slivka in the chat tuning in on the old YouTubes. What's up, brother? Man, we were talking about it before the show. We think we did a podcast with you before. We're not 100% sure. And it's
ages ago.
It's been a while back.
I forget who I was talking to on the phone today. I'm like, I couldn't even tell you how many podcasts I've done. And, it goes back, and we're like, I think it was back in 2019 sometime. So it's been a hot minute since we've gotten a chance to sit down and chat with you.
That sounds about right, yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, my goodness, dude. I'm looking right now, 816 episodes.
Oh, for us?
Is that it?
Yeah, man. So check that out, 816.
Yeah.
That's a low number.
We do a little bit of content over here, You know how it goes.
You got it going on, man.
But for the good folks that may have not heard that episode, may not know who you are, man, why don't you just give us a little introduction, where you're from,
sure,
how you got into fishing, and fishing from a stand-up paddleboard, bro.
Well, man, name's Jeff Jones, obviously, and I live in Mobile, Alabama. I fish Mississippi, the Gulf Coast, Mississippi, more than anything. And it's just a hop and skip across the state line for me. I grew up fishing. Actually, a lot of the places I fish are named after some of my ancestors. So that's pretty cool to get to fish in areas like that. And yeah, man, I honestly don't remember any time when I was a kid I wasn't fishing. So that's how I got into it. And it just kind of stuck,
Right on.
So been married 13 years, got 3 kids, and they all like fishing too. So.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, let's backtrack there. So you fish a lot of waters that are named after your ancestors. Is that just because your family roots have just been in that?
Deep here.
Really?
Yeah.
Like how far back are we talking?
Yeah, I don't even know that, man. So one of the bayous I fish is in Bangs Lake and Bangs Island, and that's named after my maternal, ancestors. So
that's
going
cool.
back to greats.
Got some ancient lineage going on.
Yeah.
I mean, do you got some generational information on where the fish are going to be on any given point in day, or what?
Yeah, man. So when the sun comes up here, you gotta get the rod. Yeah, man. Yeah,
that's pretty cool, man. Like,
none of the cool stuff was passed down like that.
That's cool though, man, to be able to fish some waters that's actually named after some of your family members, man. Like, I couldn't even imagine that. That's got to be. I mean, when you're out there, fishing, do you ever sit back and think to yourself, like great grandpa might have been sitting in this spot catching a fish, man? That's wild.
Yeah, no, I do. They did pass down some of the spots that they fished. Now that's pretty cool. So I do fish a lot of the same areas, and for a lot of the same species too. And man, what's even I think it's cool anyway. One of the places I fish, Bangs Island, is shell midden, and it's the Indians that were down here. They basically created the island by eating the oysters, and they just piled up oysters over time. And so this island is probably, I don't know, a couple hundred yards long by 75 to 100 yards wide, and it's literally just oyster shells. that they created from eating oysters. So
That's a
yeah.
lot
that's a lot of
oysters.
oysters, and that's a lot
Yeah.
of time to make that. So yeah,
That's cool, man. That's
Yeah.
very cool. So, you said you fish the Mississippi Gulf Coast and stuff when you're out there. What are you primarily chasing?
Well, I've got my favorites, but most of the time I'm after redfish and speckled trout. I like tarpon, and it's been tough for them. And flounder, of course, that's another one of my
Nice.
favorites. So, yeah,
Which one's your favorite to take home for some table fare?
speckled trout and flounder, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
you and Dustin are like brothers.
I was gonna
long-lost
say
brothers.
you guys are real similar.
Yeah, those
That's
flounder, man. I have a hard time releasing all of them.
Those are the ones that are like flat, sit on the bottom, kind of blend
Yeah.
in with the sand, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. You ever done like the spearing for those things?
Yeah.
Like I've seen guys like do
Yeah.
that. Like they'll go out at night and shine lights and just kind of spear them. That's kind of cool too.
Yeah, actually, I got a boat. Me and my dad rigged up with flounder lights on the front of it, and yeah, we done that as a kid too.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
I
Man.
still got a flounder gig from like 20-something years ago. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
it's a stainless
Passed down through the generations, or
Yeah, well, my dad made it for me while he was working construction. I was a kid. I was like 10 years old. He made it for me. Still got it. So
Well,
that's
cool.
rad. That's
Yeah.
rad. Very cool, man. How'd you get into the stand-up paddleboard, man? Like, because you went from a kayak to the stand-up paddleboard, right?
yeah, that's right. So I started out in a Vibe Sea Ghost. Well, originally starting out in a kayak, I was in like this cheap, like I don't even know what it was now. It's a Pelican something, but it was it got me started, and that was the main thing. And then I went from that to a Perception Striker,
Okay.
and then from there I went to a Vibe Sea Ghost. And then when they came out with the Vibe Maverick, I was like, man, I got to check this thing out because I was getting into more. Trying to get into more like throw and go stuff, just have something in the back of my truck, and it kind of fit the bill, and I got into it, loved it. So, and now I've started fly fishing, and it's even better.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
So-
go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say. So, what do you own right now? These what are your kayaks and stand up?
Actually, man, I've got a Cubera, Yellowfin, Shearwater, the Skipjack 90, and I've got a boat too. So
Is that Shearwater looks pretty good? Is that thing pretty?
I've been in it more than anything lately.
Yeah.
I really like it. Yep.
I always like that the look of that one.
Yeah, it's a
Like-
nice kayak.
The colors are cool too on those. They're real vibrant.
Yeah, so I got one that was gray, the Raven color,
Hmm.
and I named it the Queen Anne's Revenge because Blackbeard.
Well, at least you're not a dork.
Yeah,
There's that Cubera up on the
Yep,
up on
that's
the
the color
screen
I
for
got,
you.
too.
Oh, that looks pretty good.
Riggin.
It's like they took a kayak and just chopped the gunnel walls off of it, and made it flat. It's pretty sweet.
Are
Yeah, they
you?
made it really easy to lose gear. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. I bet you got to tether everything you can.
Yeah, well, I don't carry much anyway, but yeah, some people tether a lot.
Are you using the actual seat, or are you doing a cooler?
No, I've got a seat.
Yeah,
Actually, the seat that's on the screen there. Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
I have used the cooler before, but
Yeah.
yeah, that seat's where it's at.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's more for like the skinny dudes. Like they can
Yeah.
they can like dance a jig on top of the cooler
Yeah.
and not like fall.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of that, like, how's the stability on that thing?
Oh, it's great, man. Yeah, stand up to sight fish for reds. Stand up to pee. Everybody does it. Turn sideways. You can do it.
Gotcha.
I mean, of course, you got to test you got to test it. You got to find out where it's at.
oh
But
yeah.
it'll dump you. But if you know your limits, you're good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I dig
So
that,
Brian
man.
can't use one of those down south because if he sees a spider, snake,
Hey man,
alligator.
It's easier to run on the top of the water that way.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. You know, summon your inner Jesus on that one, huh?
Yeah. I'll part that stuff like the Red Sea. I'm just saying. Well, and that's something too, man. Like you brought up, you just had a recent gator encounter that you said was kind of gnarly.
Yeah.
I just had my first gator encounter out of a kayak when I was down in Florida for the KBF event here. I don't know what, 2 weeks ago, and I was back in this channel fishing the marina, and the left side was all boat docks and stuff. The right side was all like tall semi-grass and brush, and all of a sudden, like, I just seen something green, like in brown, move in a splash, and I just saw reeds moving left and right, like heading my direction. I was like, nope, that's it, I'm out of here. Pegged that Newport motor, spun around, and just got out of there as fast as I could.
Oh man, what if your motor didn't work?
Probably would have had to gone back to the hotel to change my shorts. Let's just leave it at that.
It would have been like in the movies. You're like, I won't turn on.
Well, and the bad part was too is I lost my paddle earlier in the morning. My paddle is somewhere on the bottom of Lake Kissimmee somewhere. So like I didn't even have something like big and heavy to like smack at it, like fishing rod's only going to do so much, but
dude, you lost your paddle too?
Yeah.
Like, because I know Matt Ball did as well.
Yeah. I don't know how I did it, but I lost it. It's somewhere. And I didn't realize it till later in the day.
Dude.
I was talking to Jimmy Skinner, and I like looked down. I was like, where's my paddle?
There's $350 floating around on the water.
It was a new canoe paddle, so it wasn't that much, but like, still, I mean, it's a couple $100.
Yeah, they're not cheap, that's for sure.
So let's hear it, Jeff. Like,
yeah.
I mean, and you're dealing with these things. Like, how do you deal with them? And I don't know, man. You got bigger cojones than I do. Gator's
380.
Well, there you go. There's an option.
Yeah. I mean, you gonna go hand to hand?
Yeah. So no, this little canal that I fish for tarpon, man, it's not wide. It's like 10 foot wide. And I was paddling down it. I was in my Skipjack 90, man, a little kayak, 9-foot kayak, and just fly fishing in there. And I said, the canal. All right, so I got to give you a little backstory on the canal. It goes from a bayou to a gator farm, like a legit gator farm where they're raising gators and charging tourists outrageous money to feed a gator a marshmallow. So I'm headed down this canal, and occasionally their gators will get loose. And that's what happened, man. This big old girl, man, probably 10, 12 foot long, comes sliding off the bank in front of me.
Nope.
And of course, I'm not to where the good fishing is, yet. And she's just sitting there in the water, and I'm like, all right, what you gonna do? I'm gonna slow up and see what's going on here. And she just goes under. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna book it. And so I started taking off, and she comes up again in front of me, like a few hundred yards away, and she's blocking the canal again. And so she just she didn't really get aggressive then, but she was blocking my way. It was just kind of uneasy. But she went down one more time, and this time she stayed there. I didn't see her going forward. They push a lot of water. And so I get kind of over the top of where she's at, and I'm paddling hard, man. And she comes up beside me and just takes a swat at my paddle. And that's,
like with her tail or with her mouth?
No, with her mouth.
Oh, that'll make your sphincter pucker.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, man. Yeah. Like, all right. Let's take this back a step.
Yep. Okay.
12-foot gator just slithers into the water in front of you, kind of sits there. You start paddling after she goes down. She pops up again. That wasn't like, hey, red flag, let's turn around and go home. Like, come on, bro. Like,
as long as I've been around here, I've never had like an aggressive gator ever. Like,
that's crazy.
Do anything. And then this one, she was just looking for a marshmallow. She wasn't trying to eat me or nothing. She just wanted a free snack.
Well, that's how it starts.
That's how it starts. Yeah.
She was thinking, look at Jeff Jones. He looks like a little snack.
So I guess like my paddle splashes, man, I guess I just mimicked, people throwing big old marshmallows in the water because that's what they eat at the Gator farm. So.
That would make sense for sure.
Yeah.
Like injured fish on the surface, something, their food hitting the top. Like, did you end up with like teeth marks in your paddle blade?
No, it wasn't like an aggressive, like really hard bite. She was there. Her head was there. Her mouth was there. And she just kind of. So.
Yeah. Well, and that goes with anything, right? Like, that's why they tell people don't feed gators out in the wild. Because
Absolutely.
Now they're associating person with food. And you could become the food if like the situation, works that way. I mean,
the worst part was where it was at. That canal was really small, and that could have turned in pretty dangerous, if she flipped me or whatever. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever had any issues with a gator.
How wide bank to bank are we talking? Like in that canal?
10 foot, 9 foot. It kind of varies. It's not wide at all.
Yeah, you got a 9 foot kayak, so I mean, there you go.
Yeah. So when the gator turns around in the canal, like you see both ends of the gator. It's that small of a canal.
Jeez.
Oh, dude, you need to go tomorrow to a doctor and get your head checked, bro.
Okay,
come on, man.
You just got to see the fishing in there, man.
I already would have had the bazooka out. Like,
yeah, right. Bazooka. I'd be throwing dynamite.
Yeah. So it got so scary when we legit. After that happened, I texted a couple of my buddies and told them where I was at. And it's like, look, man, if I go missing, here's where I'm going to be. So
look for the 12-foot gator. I'll be inside.
Yeah. I told them a little what was going on, sent them location. Like, don't tell my wife right now. Like, don't call her.
You're like, I'm still going to fish this spot. I don't want to give it up yet. But,
Well, I mean, typically they're usually like most wildlife, right? Where they're more afraid of you than you are of them. Absolutely. Type deal,
Yeah.
So I mean, I get that. Like that one that slithered into the water, I'm sure he saw me and kind of got freaked out and was just like, yep, I'm out of here. Some weird creature in a floating plastic boat near me, It was only a 4-footer, the one I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they are predators and they know it. So, I mean, yeah, they don't want to really mess with you, but I mean,
they're not scared either.
Yeah. They also know that they're like, all right, get close enough.
Well, in Jeff, you could probably correct me if I'm wrong because you probably know more about this than I. But like typically, when they get a little agitated is during mating season, right? Like when there's a mating season going on, they get a little iffy.
I never go anywhere near a nest because that's just being stupid.
Yeah. When is that season typically like down south?
Sometime in the spring, man. I know it because their nests are massive. They're just like they're 8 to 10 foot humongous mounds. And usually when you see that, don't go to I don't even know what time of year it is. I know it's in the spring, but I don't know what month or whatever. So I just never go near them.
Does that
I mean, I don't try to go near them ever.
Yeah, never.
Does that deter you from certain fishing locations?
Not really. They're in the marsh more than anything when they're nesting, and typically in the spring the marsh isn't great fishing anyway. So
and
that's good.
And you got your 380, so you're good.
Yeah. It'll stop something. It's got those zombie rounds in it. So.
I was gonna say that's like a baby 9, dude. That's like
I was gonna say 380. Like, come on, man. Like you should have like a. What's that big like revolver?
Like a judge?
Was that? Yeah,
judge.
Yeah. Bring a judge.
Yeah.
Boom. The things that they use to shoot bears.
Yeah.
That's what I'm using.
All the water's out. Like, where'd the water go?
So you were saying back in this canal where you were trying to go, you were actually going to try and chase some tarpon, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's we need it.
It's one of the places in Mississippi you can go and catch tarpon, speckled trout, redfish, and bass all in the same spot. And sometimes there's bluegill. Just depends on salinity.
So I mean, is there like is it just You said it was only like 10 feet wide. Is it the whole like river?
No,
or
it
creek?
opens up further in there, and there's a couple canals that actually connect to it, like
Okay.
drainage ditches and stuff going into it, and that's the spots, man. Because where
Gotcha.
those currents converge, fish just hang out, and nobody goes back there. It's just
Probably
there's
'cause
no
there's a-
access.
It's
Yeah.
probably more because of the 12-foot gator that spans
That
the
might
width of
be
the
it.
canal. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
now
Yeah.
from one end of the canal, yeah.
I know. He's like, and that's the one thing everyone's banking on. It's like,
Yeah.
we can go, but I have to warn you about
Yeah,
the fifth turn. It's like, no, that's on the way to the good spot. But
Yeah,
you really want to just be quiet through that area.
yeah.
Make sure you bring the heat with. You're gonna want some form of of weapon.
I can see him doing too. Like, you're going through the area and you're like bringing, like, now that we know it's marshmallows, you're like throwing them off like flares, like off a fighter jet.
Yeah.
Just so you get by,
Oh, that's great. That's great. So I know you're big into fly fishing now. Has that been something you've been doing for a long time? Like going
2
back
years.
into these 2 years now?
2 years, yeah. So.
What kind of made you drop the conventional rod and get into like the fly fishing end of things?
All right, so my wife, she's over our children's department at our church, and they sent her on a conference to Gatlinburg. And
Okay.
She had conferences to do all day, and I was like, well, I'm going to fish. And, obviously you want to fly fish when you're up there for trout. So
Yeah.
I bought this little small 3-weight cheap. It was like a Bass Pro job. And I got up there, caught a few trout, and absolutely loved it. So I came home and got an Orvis Helios 3 in 8-weight.
Nice.
So, yeah. And now I've got several rods.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's all downhill from there, my friend.
Yeah. I've got a mountain of debt into fly fishing.
That's a whole different kind of debt too.
Yeah.
Bro, it's rough.
Yeah, that's like, I remember when I walked into a fly shop and I heard how much like the cheapest rod there was, and I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I'm like, how much?
I laugh when bass fishermen are like, yeah, I got best rods ever, man, high end, $300, $400, and I just chuckle a little bit, like, yeah, get a high end fly rod. Like, there's a story, a friend of my dad, his kid got heavy into steelhead fishing, up here, tributaries and stuff. And so he asked his buddy that knew more about fly fishing than he did to go pick him up a not top of the line rod, but like a little less than that. Guy had money. Came back, he's like, "Here's the rod. You owe me $1,300." And he was like, "What? Like $1,300?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?" But yeah, no, it's
expensive, man. Especially you do it in salt water, because you got to have a reel that's got drag, and you got to have something that won't tear up in salt water. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of my bucket list things to do is to catch a tarpon on a fly rod. I mean, you're going back into those channels. You're catching some tarpon on the fly.
Yeah, I'm catching small tarpon now. It's a nursery that I'm fishing, so 30-inch max is about the biggest tarpon I've caught in there.
Yeah, but still, man, like a 30-inch
it's amazing.
tarpon.
A 30-inch tarpon, you're still gonna want like a 6-weight, because they'll mess you up.
coming
tail dancing out of the water as usual, all that stuff.
That's it. Tail dancing, man. They hit like a freight train, dude.
So do they do tarpon in any other area close to you come through seasonally?
Yeah, we got some barrier islands out on the coast of Mississippi and Alabama, and we have schools of big tarpon. I'm talking like 100 to 150 pounders that swing through in the summer. So
crazy, dude.
And they're chasing red minnows and different bait fish, and they'll go to Louisiana and go back to Florida. So.
Huh.
All right. So I just looked up. I will be to your house in 14 hours and 1 minute. 1 minute.
Let's do it, man.
You want to know? You don't want to know? It's funny too. Is like, well, I don't know if you know this, Jeff, but I'm moving to just outside Knoxville.
Yeah.
In April, but you're from what I'm looking here to Mobile, Alabama. It's about 7.5 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah.
From my house where I'm going to be at.
That's a day trip, man.
It's 8 hours from here to there.
Yeah.
That's 8 hours like to your house.
Well, hey, man, it only takes about an hour, man, and you can have all the fun you want with a tarpon.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's wild. So are you because I'm always curious, man, like I got heavy into fly fishing for a hot minute there, and it was got into fly fishing, you'd start buying some flies, all that stuff, and then you start tying your flies.
Yeah.
And then like I even went to the extent of building a fly rod and like things like that, man. Like, so are you tying up your own flies and stuff too?
I am, man. I decided pretty early on in my fly fishing that I wanted to tie about 90% of the flies I'm using. So they don't look good, but they catch fish. So
Yeah. You're like, I ain't gonna be posting any pictures, but
yeah. I've stumbled onto a couple gems that work pretty good. One of my favorite lures in conventional world is a mirrodine for trout, pretty much anything in inshore. And I decided I was gonna try to imitate that with a fly, and I tied that, and that's a pretty good one. And then I've also got a crawfish fly that just have caught some of the pickiest bass I've ever seen. So,
no, is that like a weighted fly or is that?
Oh yeah, it's like a chuck and duck, like watching here. It's got a tungsten head on it, and it's heavy. You could probably cast it with a casting rod.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So a mirrodine, I'm pulling it up here. It kind of looks like almost like a Zara spook bait kind of, but like more of like a condensed like shad pattern, right?
Yep, it's got a flat profile from the top down, and it's shad shaped, and it'll suspend in the water and twitch back and forth. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
See, I'm sure I got a picture of the fly I've been using. Sorry, man, that's my dog.
Hey, man, he's excited. We're excited.
Yeah. He's like, I want to be on the pod.
Yeah. I mean, guest appearance, bro. No, that's interesting, man. So,
this, I know I could probably share it a different way, but this is kind of what it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
You using like synthetic hair on that?
Yeah.
Got some
EP fibers, and I just weight the hook with some lead or whatnot. Put a big eye on it.
Nice. It's funny just thinking back, like I've made like that was the one kind of fly I was like always looking for, like what can I make that's going to represent like a small bait fish like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget the name of the pattern, dude, but it almost looks exactly like a minnow, like a silver shad, or and it's duck feathers, the underbelly feathers from a mallard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of got that black white, and you kind of had to wrap them. But the way that thing moved through the water, and the way that those feathers like condensed down, but still had some movement to them, one of the sexiest things ever. I'll have to look up that pattern and send it to you, dude. It's killer. Crazy
enough, man. I caught a wood duck the other day and plucked all the feathers out of it. So
you
somebody
wait. Caught a wood duck, or you shot a wood duck?
No. This is my second duck to catch. All right, so we'll start with the wood duck, the second one. All right, somebody had shot this duck down, and I seen it in the bayou, and I was like, man, that's the best looking decoy I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was just sitting on, like not moving. And I'm like, I got to go check this thing out, man, see what kind of decoy it is. So I go there, and it was actually a live duck. And he was hurt. I just picked him up. I knew he was going to die, and I was like, this is some fly time material here.
Yeah, buddy.
So I got him. But the first duck I caught was on the fly rod, and it was very much well. It was a redhead hen, and she was diving. I was in a canal. She was feeding or whatnot, and I was casting, and her foot got hung into the bend of one of my hooks, and that was pretty fun. Pretty fun fight. A little bit in the air, a little bit in the water.
I was gonna say, how does that go?
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, we used to go to the lake in town, Crystal Lake, and we'd rent a rowboat. Like we'd go mow lawns and stuff, take our money and go up to the lake, rent a little rowboat, and we'd fish. And what were those pre-rigged like 3-hook plastic worms, man? Who makes those? Somebody's watching.
Kelly
probably
worms.
knows. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So Buddy casts it out, and like this duck goes like swimming after it, and like so he reels it in real quick. And I'm like, dude, don't cast over there, man. You're gonna end up hooking that duck. So what's the idiot do? He casts it right back there. Duck like chomps down on it because he thinks it's a freaking worm swimming through the water, hooks it in the bill. And dude, I'm telling you, like at this point in time, we're probably like 14, and it's like, what do we do now? And it was the same thing like Jeff was saying. Some was in the water, some was in the air, some was underwater. Like, so we ended up getting that duck like into the side of the boat and got it unhooked, and it got away unharmed. Had a little piercing in the bill, but that's crazy, man. It's wild.
I had the same experience down in Miami. I was trying to catch peacock bass, and it was by a bunch of like Muscovy ducks, tame ducks, and they were trying to get the lure just as much as the peacock bass were. Man, I had a harder time not catching a duck than I did catching a peacock.
Well, that's like up here. We got seagulls like diving at baits and stuff, especially if you're, working at top water like you're talking about doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah, so mean, man.
Are you fishing just primarily saltwater only?
No, man, I fish everything. Actually, lately I've been fishing more freshwater creeks than anything.
Okay.
I've kind of got into this blue line kick where I'm just stopping at any body of water and checking it out, and man, it's paying off really good. I'm catching a lot of bass and a lot of different sunfish species.
Nice. Very cool. No, I'm always curious, man. Like I was talking to a guy today about, we were talking guys like a Cub Scout leader, and he teaches a lot of, scouts how to fish and things like that. And he's big into fly fishing. And then we were talking about the schools by his home. A lot of them have high school bass teams and things like that. I brought up Jackson Orr, now the kids fishing at the collegiate level, started in the kayak world. And he's like, it would be really cool, like if they had something where like you had to fish freshwater, saltwater, both like inshore, offshore, and like all that kind of stuff. Like it'd be a cool competition, like where they change up the styles of fishing like every tournament or something. So,
make it an angler tournament.
Yeah, like, exactly.
How well can you do on everything? Yeah, exactly. I love that idea, man.
Yeah, so we were talking about that today, man, and it's unique because, like, I mean, I'll admit, like, I've grown up in the upper Midwest my entire life, and I've never fished saltwater. I'm like super fascinated. Had my opportunity, was supposed to fly out beginning of April. COVID hit in March, and that trip got canceled. So. And I haven't rescheduled it yet, but it's going to happen this year. Whether I'm coming to Jeff Jones's house or Dustin Nichols, like somebody's taking me saltwater fishing, damn it. But no, it's cool, man, because it's a different, unique beast, and to be, well versed in both. I think that's super cool, especially for folks that live near the coast like you do.
Yeah, man. So I kind of branded Brackish Coast and the Brackish Fly. That's my YouTube and podcast and everything because of that. Because I'm not set on any certain species or certain body of water. I kind of fish it all. So
that's just like our man Dustin, man. I know we keep going back to that, but like he's the same way. He's just as good on the salt as he is on the fresh. For you guys tuning in live, I'm just dropped the link down to Jeff's podcast, The Brackish Fly. If you guys are listening, you guys could go find it on Spotify and I'm sure any other platform, right? Just search The Brackish Fly and subscribe to that. Start listening.
I'm about 3 episodes in, and actually recording another one tonight with a guy that wrote the book on red eye fishing.
Nice.
Fishing. Yeah. So, but it's been fun, man. I enjoy doing the podcast and doing that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So what made you kind of like decide, hey, let's start a podcast and start talking about this?
Well, so I got a buddy that I fish with a lot, and he's on some of my Brackish Coast videos on YouTube. Mr. Matt Therrell. He was like, "Man, we should just start a talk show, like a morning show on the radio." And I was like, "Dude, we can't do that. Like, we're not radio hosts." He was like, "Let's start a podcast." I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And we're both musicians, so we both had a lot of equipment to do it, and we just started. And come to find out, I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it too, with the exception of Jay, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It happens, man.
No, I'm kidding. What do you think has been like the biggest struggle getting it going?
Finding the time to do it. I'm a business owner. Like, I got my own business, and that, God, dude, I'm sure the business owners understand.
Yeah.
It's 24/7. Phone never stops ringing.
What kind of business you in, man?
Man, it's going to sound weird, but I do cemetery work. I'm a grave digger and headstones, monuments.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
all that stuff. I'm in the death industry. Yeah. Somebody needs to get some money off of it.
You know, that's like the one business that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's job security right there, man.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, I used to be a business owner as well, man, and it was the same way, like just nonstop phone calls all day, all night. So
Yeah.
I get it, man. I get it. So, so you said you guys are 3 episodes in?
Yeah. I started last year, but honestly, the quality I was putting out, I wasn't satisfied with, so I just cut the plug on it. And I've got a bunch of episodes that nobody will ever hear. But this year, I got upgraded a lot of equipment and finally got the audio where I want it. So I'm putting out an episode a week, and I think we got about 6 recorded so far. So.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you releasing them on any certain day of the week, or?
Yep, Saturdays at 5:00.
In the evening or morning?
In the evening.
Okay.
Central time.
Right on. I got to ask you this because you live in Alabama. How close are you to Greenbow?
Never heard of
it.
Forrest Gump, man. Forrest Gump.
Well, it was filmed in Bayou Battery, and that's like 20 minutes away.
Yeah. I give people from Alabama a hard time all the time because they're like, there's no such thing as Greenbow, Alabama. So I always bring it up.
Recently they tore the house down that they filmed here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's kind of
Was that because of Jedi?
Probably.
You know, Jedi. That's so bad. I'm not doing that again.
I may not be a smart man, but I do know what love is.
And see.
The other day, one of my kids asked, like, "Who is Forrest Gump?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to school."
Yeah. Pull up a chair, kids.
Yeah.
We're about to do some learning.
Yeah.
That's great, man. So, I mean, what's next, man? Like, you got the YouTube going, you're starting the podcast, you're fly fishing, you're doing a bunch of freshwater, man. Like, what's kind of your goals for 2022?
Well, I've got a few trips planned already. I'm going back to the Sewanee River or the Wasissa River. I'm going to chase Sewanee bass, and I'm pretty sure it's Wasissa River. Going for that. Going to chase Bartram's bass in North Georgia. The Cahaba bass. I'm trying to check off all the black bass species this year.
That's cool.
Pretty much the only ones I'm missing is a few of the red eyes and Guadalupe. And at some point, maybe this summer, I'm going to go after Guadalupe. Going to go back to Tennessee for trout. Planning another Ohio trip for smallmouth. So,
when are you going back to Tennessee?
My kids' spring break, man. I think it's in April.
Oh, we're going to miss each other then.
Yep.
That's code for he doesn't want to hang out with you, Jay.
Dude, like, totally would, man.
He's like, "Oh, I swear." Yeah. Okay, Jeff. You know, it's really weird that you planned your trip at the same time I'm moving down there. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So, with all the bass species, are you trying to do those all on the fly, or are you doing conventional gear on that too, or a mixture of both?
Kind of a mixture of both. I started it on conventional, but now I've kind of switched over to fly, and eventually I'm going to go back and do them all on fly.
Nice.
Kind of the only one I'm missing on fly is shoal bass right now. So everything else has been on fly.
I know a few guys over there in Georgia that are infamous for some shoalies. I could probably
God,
set you up
dude,
with.
that's a fun bass.
Well, they keep. I got an open invite, and shout out to Clay Ragsdale, Garrett Pate, all those guys from Veterans Kayak Fishing. You know, like I get a message probably once every other month or so, like, when you coming down, bro? Like, you keep talking about it when you coming down, and I'm like, I got to.
Yeah.
But no, that's cool. Like, has it been done before where all this black bass species have been caught on the fly?
I'm sure. I haven't actually looked into it, but I'm sure it has. Maybe.
That'd be interesting to know if somebody has done that. I
Yeah.
mean, fly fishing for bass, especially like smallmouth and stuff in the rivers, that's become more and more popular over the past few years, it seems like. So I'm sure somebody's probably attempted it. I
Yeah.
just don't know if it's been done.
I've been telling people, man, I trade redfish for smallmouth. Like, those jokers are something else, man.
Really? Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Man,
Yeah, y'all can have redfish. I'll take smallmouth.
well, it's weird because I think like a lot of guys that can catch smallmouth all the time would say the opposite. Like, you know, because it's redfish isn't a species that they can fish for or catch all the time. So it's kind of interesting.
You know, we have so many redfish here in Mississippi, man. You don't even have to target them. Like, if you target trout, you'll catch redfish. If you target flounder, you'll catch redfish. They're there. They're just everywhere, and they'll eat anything you put in front of them. Now, I'm not going to pass one up that's tailing. You know, I'm going to throw something at it, but you know, you don't even have to target them to catch them.
What's the biggest one you caught?
Didn't measure, but I'm going to guess around 40-something pounds.
Redfish?
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy
crap. That was actually on a pier, so it was a big bull red. Yeah.
Holy crap.
That's massive.
You guys get snook over by you, or is that too far north?
No, it's too far north. I wish, because that's another one I like chasing too.
Nice. When you're fly fishing for the redfish and the sea trout and stuff, are you using like shrimp patterns, or like, I know like that's usually a pretty common thing, right? Because they're usually up in the marshes chasing shrimp.
It kind of depends on what they're keying in. Sometimes most of the time I'll start with a minnow pattern and suspend.
Okay.
And then if they're not anywhere near the surface of the water, I'll go to something deeper like a shrimp or even a crab imitation. Just something that's getting closer to the bottom.
Crabs.
Yeah, I just kind of work the water columns. Usually shrimp are on the bottom and bait fish are on the top. So
interesting.
I swap it up like that.
You taking multiple fly rods out with you, like rigged up with the different patterns, or are you just bringing one rod, one reel?
No, I'm usually taking 2 fly rods with me, a 6-weight and 8-weight. My 8-weight is going to have the weighted flies, the heaviest weighted, and my 6-weight is going to be the lighter fly.
So it's pretty rad. I like it. Again, I could be there in 14 hours.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
I got to work tomorrow.
Well, call in sick.
Dude, I wish I could.
I got the vid.
Yeah.
Oh,
we get 2 weeks off then, right?
I think I have a fever. I should go rest in Mobile, Alabama. Sorry, boss.
Doctor said get plenty of sun and heat.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, man. That's great. Right on, dude. I dig what you're doing, and it's definitely different, right? Like, you know, we had JD DeRozier on a few weeks back, and you know, he's been doing big in the stand-up paddle boards, and you know, you're doing it. More and more people. I mean, one of our hosts, Brad Hicks, he's been rocking that pretty much all fall and winter up in Ohio, chasing smallmouth, you know. It's like you said, you got more into the grab and go, and I think that's what like the big appeal is to it, right?
Absolutely, man. The simplicity is just amazing, especially for fly fishermen. There's really nothing on the deck. You put a seat in it, you know, grab one fly rod, you're good to go. And the one I use, the Cuberia, it's got the deck pad, so I just use that as my fly box. I'll stick a few flies into the deck pad.
Nice. Or
in this hat, actually, I usually have flies in it, but I got a new fly box today and unloaded everything off my hat in it.
I mean, that's got to help too for stealth, right? I mean, I'm sure a kayak is super stealthy, but saltwater fish like what you're chasing are kind of skittish, right? So having that stealth approach on the stand-up paddleboard's got to play a huge role, right?
Occasionally they're skittish. You know, we got really dirty water here in Mississippi, and if they've been pressured a lot and it's a really calm day, they're pretty tough. You need a 40-foot cast to get to them, but man, there's sometimes they're just stupid, and you can walk right up and drop something on them.
Using like a 9-foot rod or 10?
Yeah, 9 foot.
9 foot.
Yeah,
just get that extra oomph.
Man, I'd say one of my favorite catches on fly so far, though. I caught a redfish on a 4-weight. I was speckled trout fishing, and he just came out of nowhere, and it was a slot red, about a 20-incher, and he just wrecked me. It took forever
that's got to
to
be a
get him in.
gas.
Yeah, I thought he was going to break the rod several times.
I've told this story before, man. Like the first time, like I was similar to you, man. I bought a cheap fly rod from like, I think it was like Sports Authority, and it was like $35. And I went up to the one of the tributaries running on a Lake Michigan, and salmon were running. And I hooked into a 17-pound king salmon. And by the time I landed that thing, there was no gears, no drag left in that reel whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it was like a 7-weight rod, and this thing's freaking jumping and everything. So I mean, it's like I tell people, like fly fishing is like fishing for like a really big fish with ultralight tackle, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
It's so rad when you hook into a huge fish and you're trying to fight them. You know, and a lot of that, you know, it's not like reel and playing them. Like you got to play them with the line in your hand and holding the rod and playing them with that too, man. It can be tricky.
Yeah, I'm still new at it, but most of the fish I catch, I don't put on the reel. I'll use them. You know, I'll hand line them in. So.
Yep. I'm pretty much the same way, man. Unless they get to that run and they're just kind of sitting there doing like head shakes, you know, and you can. Real quick, reel up the slack line while you're kind of holding it with your rod hand, you know. But I mean, even still, it's just so much funner just hand lining them in like
absolutely. That. You get to feel everything.
That's like, you know, like we're gonna do this weekend, Jay. Little hand lining some pike in through the ice hole, you know.
Pretty much. Chasing hot dogs.
There you go. But no, man, it's all good stuff, dude.
Looks like Jeff's gonna run out of juice.
Yeah, we're winding down here, man. We're pretty much almost at an hour, but yeah, no, I dig what you're doing, man, and I look forward to it. I'm gonna go subscribe to the old podcast, catch up on that, man. I love listening to other guys' stuff, dude. That's cool.
I've got several videos I'm sitting on too, but man, I'm having a hard time. It's crazy, man. When I go fishing and break out the camera, like the fish are just like, nah, bro. But
that's how it always goes, right?
So I'm having a hard time even getting video content right now, but eventually I'll get back on the YouTube game and start uploading every week. It's pretty infrequent right now. So.
Right on. Well, for those of you listening and watching, we dropped his YouTube channel down in the comment section, so you guys could go give him a sub, follow him, and those listening on all the podcast platforms, we'll be sure to put those links down in the show notes for you folks, so that way you can go check it out and, you know, follow what Jeff is doing and all that good stuff, man. So, Jeff, we'll give you the floor, man. Any final thoughts, shout outs, anything like that, man, you want to throw out there before we wrap this thing up?
Well, yeah, man, I got to give some credit to Vibe Kayaks, man. They get me wherever I want to fish. And I know it's just a brand I like. I love the people behind it. Josh, Thomas, Miriam, man, they're just awesome people. I've made friends in the family, you know, with the Vibe Kayaks team. And Bending Branches, I mean, Gator hit the paddle and it didn't really do much to it.
Yeah.
And they just look good too, man. I'm using that Angler Navigator. And,
nice.
God, dude, I love it. It's great paddle. You know, I was talking about losing paddles. One of my kids dropped off my original Navigator, in the bayou one time, and it was lost for about an hour, and we finally found it
Nice.
floating. So got that, and then we're talking about stand-up paddleboard stuff falling over. I use Savior Outdoors retrieval devices on my rods and my different things. And I actually just shared a picture the other day, man. I've got a rod that should have been lost 4 different times, and because that retrieval device is still kicking. It's a conventional rod, so it don't get as much use as it used to, but yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
I even got them on the fly rod, and I gotta say, man, the confidence in knowing that rod's going to be with me, for the next trip is priceless. It's worth every bit of cutting that cork off and gluing it on. So,
heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Right on, brother. Well, we appreciate you joining us tonight, man, sharing the good word and catching up with you and hearing all the crazy stories and what you're doing with the fly rod down there in the marshes and the bayou and all that stuff, man. It's good stuff.
It's fun, man. It's a lot of fun. You guys should definitely come check it out.
It's on my list of things to do. You had me at tarpon and fly rod.
I was thinking about it, dude. I'm gonna be a lot closer to you now.
Do it. Just make it happen, man. Do y'all know senior bass fishing? Juan Carlos.
Yeah,
it's a Spanish.
I've seen him.
So he came fishing with me one time, and like he's been every couple months since. So he just left today from down here catching sheephead and redfish. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
I texted him the other day. I was like, man, what you doing? When you want to come fishing? He was like, I want to move down there.
I know. That's what this stuff does, dude. It, like you start fishing. I mean, it's easy to want to be somewhere else. That's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, man, you definitely got to come check South Mississippi out. It's underrated for sure, man. So many fish down here. The water's not clear, so you can get away with chunking anything at them.
Well, and that's totally true, man, because you hear a lot about Texas and Florida, and it's like Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. You don't hear a ton about. Maybe a little bit more on Louisiana side, but like you don't hear a ton about Mississippi or Alabama, which is crazy.
Mississippi don't get no love, man. And all that muddy water is coming from the rivers. So Alabama's got a little bit clearer water, but it's not still pretty muddy. And you can get away with chunking some heavy line at them. So.
Right on.
And you can get right on fish too, man. As long as the wind's blowing, getting you a little chop, you can get right on top of fish, and it just makes it easy, man.
Heck yeah, sounds like my kind of fishing.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, I need some effortless. I mean, aside from them jumping in the boat, I mean, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you got to figure that out. Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you, brother. Thanks, everybody, tuning in, and we will catch you next week. And here's a couple final words from our special sponsors, Tight Lines, Smooth Paddling. Peace. Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You could support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures, your Midwest premier paddle sports destination. Go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.